Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today for iPad for Beginners, an introduction to the world's favorite tablet. Some of you from our Southern California or possibly Chicago areas may know that we do seminars in our stores. And what we're now looking to do is branch out and reach some of the people that aren't in Southern California or Chicago and give you the same type of education and content that we do inside our stores via the web. So this is our first installment of our webinar seminar, I'll call it. And we have today Sheldon Brackett. And Sheldon has been in the computer industry for 23 years, and he is a regular seminar presenter at our Southern California Mac Mall retail stores. He's been there for about a year or so doing a lot of different topics, but he does specialize in the iPad. Sheldon also does our business webinars, also with the iPad. He's our iPad in Business series presenter. So the way this works is Sheldon will begin the webinar in just a few minutes, and then if you have any questions either during or following the webinar, go ahead and ask it in the Q&A panel that can be found in the bottom right corner of your screen, or if you send it to the chat panel, we'll be able to filter those through as well. We'll take all questions after his presentation, so feel free to type them in at any time. And then also this is going to be recorded, so you will be able to access the recording at a later time on our MacMall website at www.macmall.com. So Sheldon, what I'll do now is I'll hand it over to you and let you get started.
Okay, great. Thanks, Katie. Good afternoon, I think, to everyone. It's noon here in Southern California. Hope everyone's having a good day. And just want to make sure, Katie, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay, excellent, excellent. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today, of course, we're going to talk about iPad for beginners, and it's a little challenging to do a webinar for iPad for beginners, particularly because we don't have a device that I can actually show and demonstrate more of the hardware buttons and things on it. But what we're going to do today is cover some of the internal applications for the device to get you started and productive with the device. Hopefully, as Katie said, we will continue this and do some more intermediate and advanced training on even the topics that I'm going to discuss today, because again, we're just going to touch the surface of these 4 or 5 things we're going to cover. They are pretty in-depth, and I could probably talk about each one of them for at least 2 to 3 hours. Okay? So let me go ahead and I'm going to just maximize my screen here and make sure we can see everything here.
Sorry, can I just interject real quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
So now, oh, no, that's fine. You can go back to your...
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So now that Sheldon has made the screen a lot larger, you might notice that your chat panels have disappeared. If you just hover over that green tab, you can select the chat panel, your Q&A panel. If you scroll over a little bit further, there's an arrow. Just hit that. You can get your Q&A panel up, and then you should be able to ask questions. All right. Thank you, Sheldon. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Let me see if I can go to the next slide. No, hold on a second. No, let me go back to the other screen. Sorry. There we go. We'll leave it this way. It'll be easier. Okay. So today we're going to do a little quick overview of the iPad. Then we're going to talk about browsing the internet. We're going to talk about using your email, which is great on your iPad. We're going to talk about planning with using the calendar. Then we'll talk about managing photos and using photos. And then we'll have a brief little segment on FaceTime. And then at the end, we should have some time left for questions. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Oops. Okay. Excuse me. So just there are right now 3 generations of iPads that are on the market. There was the original, or what I call the Pt1, and then released after that, we had the iPad2, which had double the processing speed of the 1, and it added additional features such as cameras, forward-facing cameras, and a few other significant features to that. And then more recently, I think a couple months ago, there was the release of the new iPad. It's not called the iPad 3, but you may hear me and other people refer to that, but the name of it is actually the new iPad. Within the iPad models, there are 2 different types. There's what's called a Wi-Fi only, which means you need to be connected to a wireless internet or network service in order to get to the internet to access many of the features of the device. There's also called, the other model is called the Wi-Fi plus cellular. Now, in previous versions, it was called Wi-Fi plus 3G. However, Apple recently changed the name of that because of some issues in other countries with the 4G and 4G LTE networks and infrastructure that they have. So the name actually changed to Wi-Fi plus cellular. Wi-Fi plus cellular means that you can access the internet from any location, granted, of course, that you have cellular signal. There are 2 different models that are cellular models, and they're provided. The carriers are AT&T and Verizon. Now, there are 3 different storage levels with the iPad, meaning just how much data, applications, and things of that nature you can store on the device. The entry-level iPad is at 16 gigabytes. The mid-level is 32 gigabytes, and the larger iPad is at 64 gigabytes. The iPad 2 and the new iPad, they both have forward and rear-facing cameras. The new iPad has a really nice camera that takes pictures with up to 5 megapixels, and it has the capability of recording full HD 1080p quality movies and videos. All of the devices have a 9.7-inch display. The new iPad has a Retina display, which actually has higher resolution than your HD television sets that you have in your home. So it packs more pixels on that little screen than any of the HD televisions that are on the market, and it gives you a remarkable screen if you see it, especially for viewing photos and videos and things of that nature. The screen quality is just remarkable. So first we're going to talk about internet browsing, which is most of the time when I teach seminars, that's what most of the people, when I poll the class, they pretty much get the iPad to do internet browsing. And so in order to do that, of course, you need to be connected to a wireless network, or if you're not in a wireless network range and you have the cellular model, you can connect to the internet through that connection as well. On the internet, on the iPad, it comes standard with Safari browser as one of the icons in one of the applications, and you'll see a photo of that here coming up pretty quickly. Using Safari and browsing the internet, it's excellent viewing and capability of sites. You can view multiple sites through tabs features in Safari browser. You also have the capability to share any of the sites that you're on. You can just email those links to any of the of your friends or anything of that nature. Then it also has the capability of bookmarking sites. And then you have a reading list, which is basically allows you to sort of check or tag a site so that later, if you'd like to go read it, you have an easy way just to go back and access that page without necessarily creating a bookmark. One of the great features for the reading list and bookmarking features is that through iCloud you can synchronize those reading lists and bookmarks, and they can be forwarded to any of your other iDevices, your iPhone, your iPod, and of course even your computers. You can synchronize those reading lists as well, all through Safari. So here's just a quick snapshot of, this is my iPad, and so what we see here, right down in the bottom left-hand corners, we see the Safari icon. Now, everything on this page, with the exception of the dictionary application, everything on this page you see here is standard with the iPad, the new iPad. And the reason why I say the new iPad is because the iPad devices run on what's called an iOS platform, which is the operating system. The iPad 1, when it was originally released, was I think on IS 04.2 or 3 or something of that nature. That operating system didn't give you the icons such as the ability to do messaging or the newsstand, and I think there's a few, and reminders. What you're seeing on my iPad is I have upgraded my operating system to iOS 5 and higher, and if you do purchase the new iPad, it will automatically come with iOS 5. So all of these applications here you see are standard, and they come with every iPad. Safari, again, is the browser that you use to connect to the Internet. So after pressing the Safari icon, I just took a snapshot of a page. I went to the MacMall page, of course, and you can get a quick view of what the browser looks like. On the top here, you have, of course, your forward and back buttons, and we're going to go through these bookmark buttons here, which is like the open book there. And we're also going to go through the box next to the URL window. It has a little arrow pointing. That's your export or sharing button, which allows you to share your the current web page and do a few other features as well. You see that there's a location here to enter your URL for the site that you want to visit. There's in the corner of that box an arrow, which is a refresh button. And then all the way over on the right at the top of the screen, you have a search engine. And you can customize the search engine. You actually have three choices. You can either use, I think, Google as your search engine, Yahoo, and Bing, and you would change those options in the settings for your iPad. Underneath here, we can see that we're looking at one page right now, and this is the MacMall page. And in the left corner here, we have the ability to just close that tab. So this is what the tabs look like. This is just one tab that's open. If we wanted to create another tab, we'd click the plus sign here on the top right-hand corner of the page, and that will give us another tab in which we can view an additional page or go to an additional site. But when you're browsing, everything is crisp, it's clear. The links are easy to select. You can pinch and increase the view of any page. You can double tap. That will increase views as well. It's really easy to navigate through web pages, and actually more enjoyable than using a computer with a mouse. I tend to use my iPad more to browse the web than I do any of my computers. So we're going to go to the next page here. And now we can see that I've added another tab. So now we have the Apple, the MacMall tab here, and then this other tab we have a site for personal finance and personal small business things. So you could continue to click and add multiple tabs on your device. I know at many times I have 4 or 5 different pages or sites open, and the ability to tab between those sites is remarkable and easy, very easy to use. So just by tapping on the tabs, it will actually take you to that additional site that you have open. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now what you're seeing now is just a snapshot of once you tap inside of the search engine, it keeps track of your most recent searches, and you can see how easy it is basically to search for something on the Internet. It also automatically brings up the keyboard, which is listed down here below on that slide, and it gives you the ability just to begin typing whatever it is you want to look for on the Internet. Once you begin to type, the search key becomes enabled. Whenever you're done entering what you're searching for, once you press that key, it will go ahead and take you to a page with the search results. Now we're looking at the bookmarks option. So this allows you to edit and get really a good history of what your bookmarks are. We also see at the very top the reading list, which I was speaking about earlier, If I were to click that reading list tab, it would show me basically what sites that I've already tagged in order for me to read them later. I also have the option of going back to look at my history to see which sites I visited. The bookmark bar, which we're going to show, we're going to see a snapshot of that a little later. You have the ability to look at your bookmark menu. And these two sites down here, the Apple and the iPad user guide, those are the sites that are bookmarked and stored in bookmarks here, which this is the screen we're in right here. So you can store bookmarks in multiple folders, and you'll see a little bit later where we can add multiple folders to do that as well. And I think that's the next slide. Okay, so by tapping the Edit button, I'll go back to this previous slide. By tapping this Edit button here, it brings up the next window, and then you can go through and you can actually, by tapping this little red minus sign, if you want to delete any of the bookmarks, you can do that, and that would remove them from your bookmark section. If you wanted to add or create a new folder to keep your bookmarks organized, you tap the new folder option here, you type in the name of the folder, and then you have an additional place to store bookmarks. And here we go. This is exactly what I did here. By tapping that folder, I can give a title of my bookmark folder that I want to create, and then I can even store it in other folders and things of that nature by selecting on the bookmark option here. Again, it automatically brings up the keyboard. You type in the name of your folder, and you click Done, and you're off and running. So now by tapping, I call it the export option, this button basically gives you the ability to actually add a bookmark when you're on a page. So by tapping that Add Bookmark option, it will basically take us back to that other screen where we can add our bookmark in any of our folders. We can add it on the bookmarks bar, or we can just add it in the general bookmark folder as well. We see the second button here gives us the ability to add to the reading list. So if we wanted to read this site later, we just tap that button and it will automatically add the URL to our reading list. So when we're ready to read that site, we can just go to our reading list and it'll pull it up for us automatically. The third button is really cool because if you read pages often, by clicking Add to Home Screen, this will create a shortcut or an icon or an alias, whichever term you'd like to use, and place it on your home screen. The home screen is the initial screen I showed where I talked about the default applications for my iPad. If I were to tap this button here, it would actually place a Mac Mall icon on my home screen. So whenever I tap that, it would automatically open Safari and bring me back to this page. You see, you also have the ability to mail this link to someone, or you can tweet it, or you can go ahead and print the contents of this page to your printer. Okay, so here's actually adding a bookmark. It basically takes the title of that page, and it gives you the URL there on the second line. It gives you the ability to select where it says bookmark bar, the location in which you'd like to store this. You can also, of course, change the name. If you tap the X here, it will allow you to change the name of this bookmark, and I think I did that on the next slide. Yes, I changed it to iPad 2. When you're done, you just click Save, and your bookmark is saved there for you. Okay, so I'm selected the book, save it on the bookmark bar, and do it. And here's a shot of selecting the reading list. Right now, in my when I was setting up this, I didn't have any options in my reading list. And it tells you basically that it helps you to collect web pages and links for you to read later. Let's go to the next slide. I think I did add it. If I were to tap plus, it would add this site to my reading list, which is, I think, exactly what I did here. And so now we see that you have a filter in reading list. You can see all of your links or your pages that you'd like to read, or you can see just the unread ones. So when you go in and you actually read it, it will actually remove it from your list, and it'll remove it from the I think the unread section, and it will still keep that link under all, so you can go back and always look at those. All right, so that's pretty much browsing. It's really easy to use. It's really fun, and it really makes surfing the net an enjoyable experience. So the other thing that most people get iPads for, of course, is to communicate with folks, and using and collecting and creating email is something that most people want to do. And the email and the iPad provides a great platform and tool in order for you to set up your email. You can also access multiple email accounts. I have at least 4 to 5 email accounts, and this is a great tool that allows me to access all of those accounts from one device. Of course, it allows you to read, create, reply, and forward messages, and it gives you a lot of other features as well. You can also organize messages, and that means you can actually create and control the folders on your email account directly through the iPad. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the slides. So again, we're back at the home screen here, and we see the mail icon here in the right next to the Safari icon with the red 28. The red 28 just means that I have 28 unread email messages that are waiting for me. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So after tapping my mail icon, oh, no, excuse me, that's not that. In order to set up your mail, you'd have to go into your settings icon. So let me go back one slide. When you first get your iPad, you won't have any mail client set up on it, of course. So the settings icon, which is right in the middle of the page with the number 1 in it, that's where you pretty much go to really customize and set up and configure your device. So the next slide is just showing me opening the settings option, and then I'm going down to the mail, contacts, and calendars option. So under the mail, contacts, and calendars option, you see here at the top of the page it says accounts. And so you see there I have 4 email accounts that I have already set up, and they're listed here. And you can name these accounts whatever you want. The names are completely up to you. You basically would need to go through, and on your first time you open this, your screen is actually going to look like this. So if you had a Gmail account, you would basically tap Gmail. It would ask you to enter your name, which you can name it anything you want. The name that it's referring to on the top is just the names that you see listed here. iCloud, iPad, Yahoo, Gmail, Blue Tears. That's the name it's referring to. Then it will ask you to enter your email address and your password, and then it will go out and verify that those are correct, and then you're off and running. It's as simple as that. Now, if you have an email account or provider that's not listed here, then you're going to have to select the other option, and you're going to need to search for the appropriate settings to connect to your email server. That can be a little difficult, but the settings are definitely listed out there somewhere. If you were just to Google, for instance, if you had a NetZero account, I know that's a really old server, but if you had a NetZero account, you'd have to go out and Google NetZero settings for iPad, and you'd find the information you needed for that. So once you've set up your email account, and you basically tap the icon for mail, and it brings you into this panel here. As you can see here over on the left, it says at the top, mailboxes. Then underneath mailboxes, it has inboxes, and then there's another section for accounts. So the first option says all inboxes. So if I were to just click or tap that section there, it would show all of my email messages from Yahoo, Gmail, iCloud, iPad, and Blue Tears in one screen. There's no need for me to go out individually to any of those accounts. I would see all of my messages in one screen. Of course, that can be a little difficult to determine which account it came from, but if you just wanted to check all of your email accounts rather quickly, you tap all inboxes, you have all of your messages there right on that screen. If you wanted to check an individual account, of course, you just tap the Yahoo, the Gmail, the iCloud, iPad, or the Blue Tears section, and it will take me to only the messages for that account. As you can see here, my Yahoo account, I have 16 unread messages. My Gmail account, I had 2 unread messages, and you can see on the all inboxes it's telling me I have 18 unread messages, which are the sum of the Yahoo and the Gmail account. So under inboxes, it's only going to show you the inbox for your account. It's not going to show you any folders or any other of the other predetermined folders by your email provider. For instance, most email providers will have, you'll have a sent folder, you'll have a spam, folder and those things of that nature. When you go into your email under inboxes, you won't see any of those folders. If you want to see any of those folders, then you need to go under the account section. And you can see that my Yahoo account is actually, if we look under the Yahoo inbox up top, is correlated to the Yahoo account here under the account section. My Gmail is correlates with this Gmail. My iCloud, iPad coordinates with the ones underneath. So if I were to touch these sections under accounts, then it would show me my entire email account. It would show me my inbox, my sent folders, any of the other folders that I've created. It will show me those folders along with my inbox messages just as easily as before. Go to the next screen here. Okay, so this screen is showing me tapping my iCloud, iPad inbox, and once I tap the inbox, I'm seeing here the 4 email messages that I have been sent already. And notice right here in the top it says inbox. If I wanted to go back to that screen that showed me all of my inboxes, then I would just tap the back arrow pointing here that says iCloud, iPad, and it would just take me back to this screen right here. Okay. Once you're in the screen, by tapping on any of the messages here, it basically gives you, opens up the email message, and it gives you the information for the message here, who it was sent from, who it was sent to, the subject of the message, and then down below here's the body of the message. Up top, we have selections here. By touching these, it allows you to move messages to any of the particular folders that I have in my account. The trash can is pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to delete a message. The arrow here, which I'm going to show you what that does, allows you to reply or forward. And then the little box in the corner with the pin here gives you the ability to create a new email message. Go to the next slide. So if you tap in the corner to create a new email message, it basically brings you up to another window. It opens up the keyboard. Put your cursor in the to option here, which allows you to select or type in the person you'd like to send the message to. The cool thing about the iPad is that all of your email messages and accounts correlate with your contacts. So on your iPad, and I'll show you when we get to another home screen, there's a contact option there. Hold on one second. Okay. So there's a contact section on your iPad, and that allows you to enter the names of your friends and family or clients, and then you can manage their email addresses and phone numbers and things of that nature. Whenever you do that, it makes it really easy to send a message to someone, because once you type their name of the contact, it will automatically insert their email address in the to field here. You can also tap this little blue plus sign here, and you can actually browse all of your contacts as well. So it makes it really easy to send a message. Okay. Go to the next slide here. Okay, if you have multiple accounts, such as I do, you can send an email from any of those accounts. So by tapping on the from box here, we now see what my actual email addresses are that are correlated to those 4 accounts that were listed before. So if I wanted to send an email from my sheldonbrackett@me.com account, I would tap that, and it would actually send the message from that address, so that you can really control which account you're sending messages from. So just as you can receive messages from any of your accounts into one screen, you can also send messages from any of your accounts in the same application. Pretty cool. So once you are ready to type your message, basically you tap the hello or you tap whatever you like in the subject. You get onto the body and you type in whatever the body of the text that you want to send. Now the send button is activated, and it allows you to, you're ready to send your message. I'm going to go back to the previous slide here, and you can see that the send button is deactivated because I haven't typed any text or anything of that nature, or I haven't assigned a person to send the message to.